Cheers! How do you do, buckaroos? How the heck are you? I am Tom the Whiskey Whisperer for the purposes of this video anyway. So last week I was able to visit Pinckney Distillery in New Haven, Missouri, a little bit over 3 hours from here in Springfield. So I picked up four from them. But here's the first one. This is their stout cask whiskey at 100 proof. So what this does, so what they do is they age their whiskey, and it is all corn whiskey, by the way, in Missouri oak barrels. But then these barrels, they send them to second shift, where they age their stout, and then it gets sent back to Pinckney Bend, where then they make this stout cask whiskey. So it's in the oak, in a typical Missouri white oak charred barrel. Then it goes to, and the barrel comes back, and they age it again in that stout cask, and this is what we get. As you can see, it's got these big, look at that color, man, almost like a little bit of a ruby hue there. Nice, look at that color. That is gorgeous. And pour lock, because I want to do a couple of them. Well, I want to string all four into one video, but I don't know if they're all going to be done tonight. That's what I was getting at. But all I do is do one long Pinckney Bend video instead of a short one for each particular whiskey. But you can smell those cask. I haven't drank anything yet today, believe it or not. You can smell those cask notes on the nose. Almost gives you these fudge-like notes. That's some music playing, but I paused to do the video. It's a classic from Michael McGear. If you're not familiar with Michael McGear, he only had the one album, and it was really good. Actually, it was critically acclaimed, but it didn't sell well, and mostly because he just couldn't get any airplay. Michael McGear, was actually Michael McCartney's, Paul McCartney's brother, but he didn't want to, get along on his brother's coattails, which I kind of admire him for that. But the album was, anybody that's ever listened to this album has agreed that the album is amazing. It's a great album from front to back. Given Greaser Eyes, my particular favorite tune on the album, but which is what I was listening to, and I paused it to start the video. But anyway. So it was I can't remember the kid's name now. He was a young guy, probably mid-20s. They all look young to me anyway. But he's very, very informative, knew what he was talking about, and that was enjoyable. Also, at no time did he ever try to hard sell me. Showed me what he had. We tasted it all. We went to the gift shop area where they had the stuff to sell, and but he never said, well, he never tried to push me in one direction or another, and I appreciate it. That's probably why I bought as much as I did. I bought 4 bottles because it was just a nice experience from start to finish, So I started, I was getting these fudge-like notes on the nose. I'm also picking up, of course, you're going to get sort of amount of vanilla. You're going to get some oak. A hint of spice there. Starts out initially sweet, little brown sugar notes because you get a hint of molasses. You might find some caramel in there. That's really up to you. Again, a lot of vanilla in play. Does have a nice oaky, spicy finish though, spicier than you might think. Certainly, you might feel some cinnamon. You might feel some allspice. I personally get a little bit of ginger in there as well. It's a nicely done whiskey, man. It really is. So I didn't taste in either gin, but it's all made from corn. Everything they do is corn, right? I did taste their vodka, and it wasn't necessarily part of the tasting, but they give you just a little bit of their vodka as a palate cleanser before you start any of the tasting. And now I kind of wish I'd have bought it. I wasn't thinking of it at the time when I went into the gift shop. I knew I wanted to get these whiskeys, but I wish I would have bought that vodka too because it was really good. Yeah, and again, just a tad sweet, sweeter than most because you got that corn happening. But it would have made a great martini. Wish I'd have bought some. I just was focusing on the whiskey though. This stuff is gorgeous. You do get those big fudge-like notes. I almost feel like I'm getting a hint of walnut in there as well. English walnut. To put a finer point on that, not black walnut. God, that's gorgeous. That is a beautifully done whiskey. Anyways, I digress. I'm going to finish this one up, and I will be back with whiskey number 2. Well, cheers. I do buckaroos and how the heck are you? I'm back for the second one. So they do these heirloom whiskey. So the difference is the corn variety. Everything else is the same. So what's interesting is how different each whiskey is from just the particular corn variety they're using. This one is the Hickory Cane Open Pollinated Heirloom Corn. This is at 100 proof, which seems to be their home run swing. They like to go at 100 proof. The variety of white dent corn was named prior to 1875 by Native Americans in southern Florida and southern Georgia. Originally cultivated it much earlier. Over time, Hickory cane became popular in the South and in the Ozarks, where it was also known for making excellent whiskey. So let me show you this bottle. I did enjoy this during the tasting. I gotta tell you, it's why I bought it, because it was just very interesting. Now, I do like bourbon. I do like my Irish whiskey. This corn whiskey, but I gotta tell you, the subtleties and complexities of just this aged corn whiskey is rather amazing. So this is the one that I had during the tasting. But once we got to the gift shop, he had a couple other varieties of this heirloom, and I was able to taste them. And again, I was amazed at how different it was. Again, the only change was the type of corn. Now I had I won't say trouble, but I had maybe a struggle trying to predict or trying to decipher the aromas and flavors here. I remember during the tasting, and I couldn't come up with a better word other than being a craft beer guy, other than dankness. You just feel this interesting dankness on the nose. It's big and oaky. You really do feel those big Missouri white oak notes. Oh, that's delicious. What's interesting though is corn whiskey you expect to be sweet. This isn't that sweet, and that corn whiskey really absorbs those oak notes. So again, you're gonna feel some vanilla, a lot of spice in the finish. I'm not feeling the caramel notes that you might get from a bourbon, but I am feeling almost like a raw sugar like note there. Raw sugar like sweetness. But this whiskey never gets very sweet. Let me make that clear. It's big and oaky in the finish. Oaky, is that a word? I'm going to say it is. It is, man. It's big and oaky, big and woody. Big and oaky in the finish. A lot of spice. Mostly a mix of baking spice, right? A little bit of allspice, a little bit of cinnamon. If you're attuned to spice notes, you might even find some cardamom in there. Oh, it's just gorgeous. I had such a great time during that tasting. It was really fun. I caught them just as they were opening. The kid giving the tasting was just good. And I'd had one of their products before. I'd had their Rested whiskey before. And I thought about buying it, but I think I can buy that here in town, so I didn't. But I wish I'd have bought a couple more products, to be honest with you. But it was the first stop of the day. I didn't want to spend all my money in one spot. But boy, if I get back there again, oh mercy. Stuff is good. I gotta tell you, this stuff is very good. If you're ever traveling down 44, yeah, get off at I believe it's 100, heading to Washington, Missouri. Let's go a little bit farther. You'll end up in New Haven, and then you'll find Pinckney Bend. I was rather impressed by all their products. I was also impressed again by the customer service. Everything there was just done impeccably well. So there you go. Anyways, I digress. You know who I am. We know who you are, Tom. Anyways, Sláinte, and I'll be back with number 3 here. Well, cheers, I do, buckaroos. How the heck are you? This is my second heirloom corn variety from Pinckney Band Heirloom Whiskey at 100 proof. This is their Tennessee Red Cob open pollinated heirloom corn. Tennessee Red Cob in 1840. My eyes to focus here. In 1840. Tennessee was the I can't read this. Was the leading corn producing state in the Union, and much of this corn. Good Lord, can I get my bifocals to work here? Much of this corn was genetically known as Indian corn. Okay. Red Cob began appearing in seed catalogs prior to 1900 and was popular throughout the Ozark region. It was a superior grain for flour, grits, and whiskey. How about that? Flour, grits, and whiskey. A very versatile corn. Anyways, it wasn't a unitasker. That corn can do many things. Anyway, so the first one I had was the one I had during the tasting. When I got to the gift shop, or where they have the whiskey for sale, he had this one to try as well as another one. What I found interesting again is that the only difference is the corn variety. The barrels are the same. Everything's the same. The distilling process. The only difference is the corn variety. So yeah, I feel like this one is a much sweeter on the nose. Again, it's just a corn whiskey, but it almost gives you those bourbon-like notes on the nose. I feel like I'm getting a lot of brown sugar because I feel some molasses in there. And certainly a lot of vanilla and oak and spice, all the usual suspects. But I'm also getting some dark fruit notes that are only typically found in bourbon. Oh, that's gorgeous. Yeah, it's just so much different from the other variety, man. Oh my goodness. So it starts out very sweet initially, it really does, and then it gets very oaky and spicy in the finish. It just has that nice, it just kind of cuts it off and puts it all together. Ah, it's gorgeous whiskey, man. So a lot of us talked about the flavors, the aromas. I think something that gets missed sometimes is the viscosity, the mouthfeel. This one just feels velvety smooth. It's absolutely gorgeous from start to finish. Wait, I forgot to pause my music, man. I'm gonna get flagged. I'm gonna get a nasty note from YouTube again. I meant to pause it when I started the video. Anyways, YouTube's gonna get mad again. I'm gonna get a strike. Anyway, I digress. Back to the whiskey. Back to this. Let's focus on what's important, Tom. Oh, mercy. I'm going to get a copyright strike again, darn it. Yeah, that is beautiful, man. It really is. That's just a gorgeous whiskey. Wow. Because so I did taste a little bit of this, not during the tasting, but later on in the gift shop area. But they give you a little bit in that, those little plastic cups. During the tasting room, you have the nice glass, right? But when you get to the gift shop, they just give you a little bit in that plastic cup. So it's really hard to tell. I just went ahead and bought it anyway because I wanted to see the difference between the three. And I got to tell you, this one, whew. I'm going to have the other one before I tell you which was my favorite of the three. But it's interesting that the only difference is the variety of corn. Well, cheers, and how do you do, buckaroos? This is this is the fourth whiskey, the third of the three heirloom whiskeys. I was really intrigued by this heirloom thing they got going on. They actually had another one, but he said it had it available for tasting, but they didn't have any to sell, so I didn't taste it, although I could have. Heirloom whiskey. This is the Boone County. Again, it's at 100 proof like the others are. Show you that bottle there. I'm going to show you the story on the back there. Gosh, I am just amazed. I gotta tell you, I am. I'm kind of like a kid in a candy store sometimes. I'm amazed that the only difference is the corn variety, right? The distilling process, the white oak barrels, everything is the same. The only thing that's different is the corn variety, and it just produces an incredibly different whiskey. This one gives you some really intriguing notes. I almost get some herbal notes on the nose here. I almost feel like I'm getting like an alfalfa-like note on the nose. And you're going to think I'm crazy with what I'm going to say next, because I kind of think I'm crazy for even thinking it, but I feel like I'm getting peanut butter on the nose. Yeah, I ain't shitting you. I wouldn't lie to you, man. Yeah, gosh darn it, man. I'll be damned if I don't taste peanut butter. Yeah, it feels like peanut butter, man. I don't know, man. I can't account for it either. It doesn't make sense to me either, but I'll be damned if I don't taste peanut butter. Okay, you're gonna get the usual. Let me get past that peanut butter thing. You're gonna taste the usual suspects, right? You're gonna feel some vanilla. You're certainly gonna feel the oak. You're gonna feel some spice. In the particular case of this one, I get some allspice. I get some cinnamon. You might feel some ginger. Really depends on your on your taster, if you will. Gosh, that was gorgeous. This whiskey is beautiful. That peanut butter note is really throwing me off, though, I gotta tell you. Anyways, I am Tom the Whiskey Whisperer, Whiskey Evangelist, prolific whiskey drinker, per wisdom, and all around good guy. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Again, Pinckney Bend, New Haven, Missouri. Check them out if you ever get a chance. You won't regret it, man.